To function with, and sure we do. We have things that we have to get to function with and stuff like that. But I tell you what, there ain't nothing about this world that I desire. Nothing. I'm homesick. I'm in exile. I'm a stranger, and I'm a.
You know what that is? That's the truth, and that's the truth straight way. Which I'm gonna have to put on hold for a minute. I was trying to do a video earlier, I just didn't have time. The great gold rehypothecation unwind begins. This is courtesy of, you guessed it, Zero Hedge. HSBC sues MF Global over disputed ownership of physical gold. Was that physical gold? Did I just... Hold on. Sorry, I thought I saw something. Let me try that again. The gold rehypothecation unwind begins. HSBC sues MF Global over disputed ownership of physical gold. Interesting thing to sue over. I thought, everything's paper and no one cares about gold, and as Ben Bernanke once said recently, central banks only stockpile gold because it's tradition. So let me go ahead and read this article from, again, courtesy of Zero Hedge. The paper gold in the form of electronic ones and zeros, typically used by various gold ETFs, paper traded ETFs, or anything really that is a stock certificate owned by the ubiquitous Seed & Co. CEDE, not seed as in plant a seed, is in a worst case scenario immediately null and void, as it is, as noted, nothing but ones and zeros on some hard drive that can be formatted with a keystroke, basically, has long been known and has been the reason why the so-called gold bugs have always advocated keeping ultimate wealth safeguards away from any form of counterparty risk, which in our day and age of infinite monetary interconnections means virtually every financial entity. After all, just ask Gerald Celente what happened to his so-called gold held at MF Global, or as it is better known now, general unsecured claim, which may or may not receive a pennies on the dollar equitable treatment post-liquidation. What, however, was less known in the physical gold, let me try that again. What, however, was less known is that physical gold in the hands of the very same insolvent financial syndicate of daisy-chained, underfunded organizations where the premature or overdue end of one now means the end of all is also just as unsafe, if not more, which is why we read with great distress a just recently breaking news story on Bloomberg, according to which HSBC, that the other great gold depository after JP Morgan and the custodian of none other than GLD. HSBC is the custodian for GLD. I mentioned this a few times already. SLV is JP Morgan is the custodian, the ones in charge of the physical silver in the vaults. HSBC for the GLD is the custodian for the gold in those vaults, in its own vaults. That's what he is saying here. So this HSBC is suing MF Global to establish whether he or another person is the rightful owner of gold worth about $850,000 and silver bars underlying contracts between the brokerage and a client. End quote. Which I guess I didn't tell you where the beginning quote was, but I think you understand. The notional amount is irrelevant. It could have been 1 penny or $1 trillion. What is very much relevant, however, is whether or not MF Global was rehypothecating there's that word again, or lending or repoing, or whatever you want to call it, that one physical asset that should not have been transferring ownership rights to what? I think I'll have to try that one again. The notional amount is irrelevant. It could have been 1 penny or $1 trillion. What is very much relevant, however, is whether or not MF Global was rehypothecating, there's that word again, or lending, or whatever you want to call it, that one physical asset that it should not have been transferring ownership rights to under any circumstances. Essentially, this is at the heart of the whole commingling situation. Was MF Global using rehypothecated client gold to satisfy liabilities? The thought alone should send shivers up the spine of all those gold bugs who have been warning about precisely this for years, because the implications could be staggering. Let me stop for a second, because if I've said it 5 times now, I've said it 100 times. I've given you examples, and I use the same example back before paper money. Excuse me. Now, hundreds of years ago, the banksters, the same old banksters that are around today, there were banksters around back then, you could bet your sweet butt. And I'll explain it again, for the sheer fact that I get new subscribers all the time and they may never heard me talk about this. Back in the day, wealthy individuals who had regular money back then, gold and silver, namely gold, they came up with a great idea, the banksters did. All you wealthy people who've got all this gold, we know you don't want to buggy it around, horse and carriage. It's very, you could get robbed. You don't need to be moving that kind of gold around. So we have an idea. We're going to create this bank, or whatever they want to call it back then, where it's secure, armed guard at all times. You store it with us, and if you need to go cross country or cross boundaries to wherever city, state, or whatever countryside you want to go to, you can travel over there with this receipt, basically a check, show it to them. They'll have the same gold there that you deposited with us, the same amount. It may not be the exact same gold, of course, but it's the same amount. Doesn't matter. Same kind of gold. You don't care. We don't care. You can go pick it up. Hey, that sounds like a good idea. And because I've got so much gold, I don't really need a lot of it at home. I'll keep it safe there, because I could even get robbed at home, we all know. I'll keep it safe over at the gold vault. And they charge a fee to store it, and whenever you want to transfer it, the money changers, as they were always been called, get their little off-the-top fee. Oh, you need some gold today? You're going to be traveling across country? Here's a check, minus a little fee. Go ahead and pick up your gold. Go pick up your gold. Another little fee, possibly. Give us our gold. Okay. So these banksters got a bright idea. Most of these people, if not all of them, hardly ever move a big amount of gold. They leave the mass majority with us under lock and key, safe, and just take a little bit here and there out to do their daily stuff. They rarely ever take a big portion out. What if we somehow could lend that gold out to other parties? We could get a fee on all the lending going on, and of course they could also sell your gold to somebody else and take the full value of your gold by basically selling it to somebody else, or lending it, let others who need it borrow it for a fee and then return it, etc. The same crap back then is what he's talking about right now that I've already warned about. And I said, what if, this wasn't that long ago that I did a video, I said this, the same thing I'm about to say right now. What if, as we all know, there's at least 100 to 1 paper contracts, whether it's gold or silver, for every real, in silver's case, one full-size contract is 5,000 ounces, okay? For gold, it's 100 ounces. So for every 100 ounce, one contract, there should be 100 ounces of gold somewhere that contract stands for. These bankers, doing what they always do to collect all these fees, they love these little fees. They've sold 100 times that amount of paper on that same one contract of 100 ounces. So naturally you would say, so basically, if 1 out of 100 of those people demands delivery, pays off the rest of the contract, that gold is gone, the other 99 people have nothing. Yes, that's correct. In general terms. Now, it's kind of like your bank. You go in, and remember what I said the other day? Over in Europe, they've come to a little agreement, for not this crap today and yesterday. We're the ECB, central bank, we're going to allow the banks over here, all of them. We required 2% reserves on hand at the banks. We're now lowering that to 1%. 1% is the same as that 99 out of 100 I gave you, which means if you were 100 people and we all had $1 million to our name and we all put it in that bank, 100 people times times $1 million is $100 million we just put in the bank. They're only required to put $1 million in the reserves at all times. They can loan out the other $99 million. And if it was a bad bet, bad loans, they're not paying, then what? You could see where that could go. But all those 100 people, there's still $1 million in the bank. We're all going in there, $50 here, give me $300, I need $1,500, I need $10,000 out of my account to buy a car today, used car. The banks are saying they're not going to come pull $1 million out. Not all 100 of them, no way. And then all of a sudden they start doing it. Uh-oh. Central bank, what do we do? What do we do? We're going to make that life easier for you. 1% reserves have just got down to half of 1%. Is that better? Oh, yeah, thanks. And the people keep coming in, pulling their money out. Crap. Knock, knock. Central bank. It's us again. Listen, all our reserves are down to the 0.5% again. We're getting cleaned out. Okay, we'll make it 0%. We'll make it 0 so that you don't have to have any reserves. You can have $0 as reserves in your bank and continue making loans, continue doing stuff. That has already happened. That has already been put in one of the laws here in America. I want to say it was added to the healthcare bill, but it may have been before that, so don't quote me for sure. It was in there. I did a video at the time, I can tell you that much. That was a long time ago. But anyways, back to the gold. Here we are today, fast forward to today. MF Global, right? They're one of these 1 out of 3 of these, not an exchange, but I guess a clearinghouse type of situation that they perform as a clearinghouse. And what he is saying is it possible that the example I gave you from the 16, 17, whatever hundreds, and beyond that even, where I gave you the example of the gold that these people were bringing in, it's supposed to be that guy's gold. We're taking it and lending it out to that person to collect more fees. They'll give it back, pay us the interest, we're good to go. What this could uncover is the exact same thing. Because if history is our guide, and history repeats with just slight little changes, then damn it, this is probably what's going on. So not only do we have the futures contract problem, where there's 100 paper contracts for every one thing of physical, for one real contract. Again, silver would be 5,000 ounces times 100. 500,000 ounces is what they're supposed to have, but they only got 5,000 ounces in that example due to the amount of paper. So you can imagine if every time the price of gold, or in this case, let's talk about silver for a second. It's a theory I've been thinking about for the last few days, and I want to share it with you. Let's say the silver, they've been given the green light long ago. Guys, for whatever real physical silver you have in these exchanges, the COMEX, LBMA, whatever you got, we're allowing you, off the record, to supply 100 pieces of paper for every one physical real contract you have. So the leverage is 100 times. Complete devastating example, but that's what it is. And that's the truth. What happens? Silver's getting out of our hands, guys. Price of silver is going up. What if they get the authorization to just create paper contracts backed by nothing at this point to just flood into the system? Right? So you're the CME group, you're JP Morgan, CFTC. They're all in the cahoots with each other. We already know this. I mean, this is guaranteed. Gary Gensler, former Goldmanite, head of the CFTC. Really? MF Global, former Goldman CEO. Seriously? Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson, prior to little Timmy Geithner. Goldman Sachs. I mean, really, do I need to continue? JP Morgan, they're all in bed together. So let's just say your duty as JP Morgan, as the CME group, as JP Morgan CME group, the whole 9 yards for commodities, strictly regarding silver for this point. And silver prices are getting away from you, even with JP Morgan's massive short position. And there's just so many people wanting silver, they have to keep supplying the paper. New people are coming in, new people are coming in. Now, normally, if you only have so much paper, even at 100-to-1 leverage, you only have so much paper that you can hand out. You can't just create more paper because more people want it. You have got to have the physical good if people are coming to you. I can't possibly be a TV shop and sell everybody who comes in, you want a TV, you want a TV, you want a TV, give me the money, here's your TV. I can't possibly start taking in money, oh, I just sold 50 TVs today, but I only have 2 in stock. And these other 48 people that are expecting TVs, they're not going to get a TV. They just don't know it, right? I mean, you can't do that. But because it's a piece of paper, backed by nothing, everyone just pushes the paper. No one ever really wants to demand delivery. Very few people demand delivery. And even those few people who have been demanding delivery recently have caused a major problem with delivery of physical gold and silver, as we all just witnessed. So clearly, there's a major problem with the silver and gold in the COMEX/LBMA. So my theory is that what if they have basically a green light to just continue printing paper contracts out of nowhere, out of nothing, backed by nothing, to just fill all these new people who want to play the game. And if they sell it and the price goes up, good for you, you made a little profit. But as new blood keeps coming in, they keep giving them all this paper, backed by nothing, extra paper. So now it's 100-to-1, 110-to-1, 120-to-1, 150-to-1, 200-to-1. They're just the same amount of physical gold and silver is there and actually being depleted, but you don't ever know about it because they're telling you on the record, we've got tons and tons of silver and gold. We've been able to give everybody who wants a contract the contract. Everything's fine. And then, of course, they crash the market by manipulating the price because they have all this paper out there, including the extra paper that's really kind of off the books, so to speak, just in order to control the price of silver. What does that tell you if my theory is right? What that will tell you is that the thoughts of people saying, $200, $300 silver, yeah, I could see that, but I don't think it'll go higher. What that would tell you, if my little theory is right, and that's what's been happening, they just issue paper up. Everyone has paper. All the contracts are spoken for. There's a major demand on the market right now for silver. So naturally, anybody playing the market with contracts out there would see the price rising pretty good. And then they would start to sell. And the price would continue to rise because new blood's coming in, and it'll keep going. But if you have the position as the CME group, the exchange or the ultimate clearinghouse that deals with all of this, you could just issue paper backed by nothing. So as new blood comes in, paper. It's not backed by anything new. There's no new gold coming in. There's no new silver coming in. It's actually being depleted, by the way. Less is there than was there before. But it doesn't look like it on the market because you're just issuing blank checks, so to speak, blank paper that are backed by nothing. And then you control the price of silver. So what that means is we think it's 100-to-1 leveraged. What if it's 400 or 500-to-1 leverage now because they've been able to do this? That will tell you how devastatingly high the price of gold and silver will ultimately go when this Ponzi scheme is finally destroyed. Now we have HSBC suing MF Global because they're trying to figure out, are we the owner of that said contract, that said gold, has our name on it basically, or is someone else also claiming that gold and they already got it? And that's why MF Global went bankrupt, because they let their boys get it, and now the rest of us who said, well, that is our name on it, that's mine, not really, we had to settle some other issues over here with these guys. In other words, he sold them the contract, he also sold us the contract for the same amount of gold, as I've been saying. We both want it now, but he ended up getting it. So let me just continue reading for a second. Probably the core primary consequence of this discovery, which obviously has a factual basis, or else it would not lead to an actual lawsuit between two, quote, reputable firms, aka Ponzi scheme participants, is whether gold in the GLD, paper gold, warehouse, supervised, again, by HSBC, is truly theirs, or has it all been hypothecated from some other broker who never really had the asset or the liquidity, and so on in what effectively can be an infinite chain of repledging one asset to countless counterparties, as I explained, 1800s, and this recent example. Because if there is one cockroach, suffice to say, expect either a prompt settlement, paper settlement, in this lawsuit, or a fervent denial by all parties involved that any gold was misplaced. Because here is the punchline. Each physical gold or silver bar has a unique designator that should never be replicated. Yet, this is precisely what happened to lead to the lawsuit. In a non-banana republic world, there should never be any debate over who owns a given physical asset, as replicated ownership, note, not a lien, replicated ownership effectively means someone stole the gold, or there was counterfeiting involved and was never caught until MF Global finally expired, of course. So in other words, is the eureka moment when everyone realizes that any gold, be it paper or physical, is either a irrelevant electronic binary claim held in some semiconductor computer, or at best an asset in some vault that the brokerage next door suddenly also had a claim on. No, that's our gold. No, it's mine. No, it's ours. No, it's mine. We both have the contract that says that exact number, serial number, right, is ours. Oh, now there's another guy that says it too. Oh, and there's another guy that says it too. That's what I'm talking about from hundreds of years ago. Now, the end result is that the biggest loser is Joe Sixpack Sheeple Public, who bought the gold and decided to keep it in a bank warehouse or COMEX or LBMA for, quote, safekeeping, only to realize said gold will never be seen or heard of again. Now, did you just hear my WebBot update earlier today? There was a little tiny section about missing gold, missing precious metals, stolen precious metals, and the banksters hiding behind the walls. Don't look over here, don't look over here. Ooh, they're looking at the gold that's missing. Uh-oh, it's not us. Remember that little section in the WebBot report? And then this happens today. The WebBot report came out Monday. And it's been collecting data for at least 3 months now, since September, October, November, December. He did the report the last week or two prior to Monday, compiling it all to decipher it, to give his opinion or his, what he, what he feels the data means in his mind. And then, of course, I read it, and basically it's his interpretation, and then I read it, and then I have my own interpretation, which usually is, I understand where he's coming from. I don't have to really change anything for my interpretation. I just usually read it and be a little more clear with what I'm saying so that people understand what I'm saying. And like I said, I had to contact him. What was this section about the twin peaks between gold or precious metals and the US dollar? And he basically said, as Europe collapses, there's going to be some reason, one way or the other, that people go into precious metals and US dollars. Only to find out, bad move on the US dollar part, let's go all in on precious metal part. There'll be a twin peaking. Wow, US dollar is great. Precious metals are also great. Oh, hyperinflation kicks in, dollar takes a dump. Metals go where they've been destined to go for a long time. Mind-blowing numbers, price-wise. So it says, from Bloomberg, 5 gold bars and 15 silver bars underlie 8 COMEX contracts, and these are probably 1,000-ounce bars, I believe, between the brokerage and the client, Jason Fain of Ithaca, New York, London-based HSBC said in a court filing yesterday, both parties have asserted claims to the bars. Both parties are saying those bars are mine. It sounds like what I told you about history repeating. The webbot already said it is. And the best part about this, there's a nice juicy section, not in this webbot report, but probably 2 reports ago or so, about gold bars especially being cut into and found to have tungsten or some other metal, namely tungsten, inside with a little small coating of real gold on the outside. Because tungsten, I think, weighs the same as gold. So if you have a certain size bar and it says a 400-ounce gold bar, it can only be so big. It can only have a certain shape because everyone sees them. They know what they are. You can't fake it unless you could fill the inside with something that weighs exactly the same amount as gold. Ooh, tungsten. If you recall, Hong Kong 2 years ago or so received a shipment of tungsten-filled gold bars. They checked some of them, had a little issue, and that was it. We never heard of it again. I followed it. I waited. I tried to catch what's going on. Who sent you the bars? Where did they come from? Was it the Federal Reserve? Where did they come from? Who was it? Hushed up. You know, they told them, we're going to make you a phenomenal shipment. We'll make sure it's right. Pure gold. Just shut your mouth and don't say anything. Oh, okay. No problem. And it's been shut up ever since. Couldn't tell you how it ended. I don't know. But I do know it happened. So, anyways, I want to share that with you because now it's saying there's 2 parties interested in one single claim of or 2 claims on one thing. One I don't know how this contract works. It says 5 gold bars and 15 silver bars, but however it is, they're both claiming, no, that's mine. No, that's mine. No, that's mine. No, that's mine. Kind of like the mortgage situation. Remember I told you, chain of title? This guy signed it, this guy didn't, this guy didn't, that guy didn't, and then the guy you're paying now for your mortgage, they did sign it. Any of those 3 last people could stand up. I'm the owner. No, I'm the owner. No, over here, I'm the owner. And then what? But I've been paying this final guy the whole time. Oh, yeah, but that's a subsidiary, in my case, of Bank of America, LLC, such and such. So if it goes bankrupt, Bank of America doesn't go bankrupt. Just this little tiny subsidiary of Bank of America goes bankrupt. You were paying them the whole time. Now there's a problem because these other guys claim they're the note holder. We, last ones to sign it, we own the house. You should be paying us. But I've already paid $50,000 toward my mortgage to Bank of America, such and such, LLC. Bank of America, where's my money? Bankrupt today. Gone. Well, at least get my $50,000 back because I owe this guy $50K. Your money's gone. What did my lawyer tell me to do? Stop paying immediately. We don't know who owns your house, JSNIP 4. Stop paying. And I did. Guess what? Looks like there's a little issue here, huh? Now, if you stop paying on that contract, or you were to close out your contract and say, I want my money back, if you lost, no, sir. You don't get that back. But when you start to win, like Gerald Celente was winning to get demand delivery, he wasn't playing the paper game. As he said, I'm not in here to play as a paper game. I wasn't trading. I had enough money in the account. Here's the money. Here, give me the goods. I don't want to play the paper game. I've got enough money in the account. Give me the goods, only to find out you have nothing. I can't wait to see how that ends too, by the way. So I'm gonna end this video right now. Matter of fact, well, let me just, there's a couple more sentences here. The punchline: the judge handling the bankruptcy said today, and I'm bankruptcy of MF Global, said today he would deal in January with the issues about distributing physical goods, such as gold and silver bars, after lawyers for some customers said they couldn't get their share of the payouts because bars can't be broken into pieces. So if you didn't have enough for a full-size bar of gold in your contract, we're going to have to paper settle. Here's some cash. See how that works? So, man, oh man, oh man. Interesting times, I'll tell you what. So, that's all. I'm leaving you with that. I got to go turn on some Pastor Dowell, see what's going on over at Blog Talk Radio. Take care.